You have to learn to trust your gut, and you have to listen to the song. Yesterday I got a text from a SongTown member who had heard me talking at a workshop about how I like to switch during a writing session and play piano for a while, maybe play guitar for a while, and switch back and forth. And so his question to me was, how do I know what a song needs? How do I know when a song should be a piano song? And how do I know if I should switch over and maybe finish it on guitar? And you know, there's really not a hard, fast rule for any of this thing called songwriting. But I will say this, you have to learn to trust your gut, and you have to listen to the song. What I mean by that is songs will whisper to you. You know, they'll tell you what they need. And the better we get at letting go of what we think a song needs and listening for that whisper that song is giving us of what it needs. Now, sometimes it's not easy to hear that whisper. Sometimes it feels like a song is whispering to you in a windstorm and you're having a hard time figuring it out. And that's why sometimes I like to switch back and forth between instruments. If I get stuck playing a song on guitar, maybe if I head over to the keyboard and beat around on the same melody, then maybe that'll spark a new direction. But I thought to best illustrate why we should listen to what a song is saying, I would tell a little story. Years ago when I was in college at Berkeley, I was there for 1 year, and a friend of mine had passed a demo tape to a jingle company in New York, and they hired me to start writing jingles, and that was fine with me. I wasn't digging school, and I really wanted to figure out a way that I can make my way through life, earning a living with music. That was my dream. And so I started writing jingles, and I actually started programming. This was back in the 90s, so I would program jingle tracks. I would do the drums on a keyboard. I'd play the bass line on the keyboard. I would play some acoustic and electric guitar, and I would play piano. But I spent a lot of my time for about 10 years in front of a piano. And, I just felt like writing songs for, Red Lobster or the Armed Forces. I was like, this just doesn't have the heart. I wanted to write songs that meant something to me and had heart. And, I finally was able to say goodbye to New York, and I moved to Nashville and was determined to make it as a songwriter. I just wanted to sit in a room, like Lennon and McCartney with a guitar in their hand and banging out a song and bantering back and forth. That just seemed like this romantic notion of how songs were written. And so I made a commitment. I was like, I am giving up piano. I'm going to go to Nashville. I'm going to play guitar, and by golly, I'm going to have a hit. And for about 5 years, I could not get anyone to record my songs. And I was determined. I wrote, 4 and 5 days a week, but I just wasn't getting any action. And for about 1.5 years, I had this melody on guitar. Trying to think how it went. And I would keep playing that over and over. Every couple of weeks I would come back to it, pull it out, and I would fiddle around with it, and I would get that far, and I just couldn't figure out where to take it. And a co-writer of mine, Irene Kelly, she had a publisher, Clay Myers, and he worked at Creative Artists Agency, and they had an in to try to get a song into a TV show. At the time, the show was called Second Chance. They later changed the name to, I think, Sisters. But he challenged us to write a song for this TV show that could be their theme song. And he goes, they really want like a female piano song, just a haunting kind of beautiful melody. And he was like, I heard you used to play piano. And I was like, yeah, but I'll play guitar now. And he was like, well, why don't you give it a shot? So reluctantly, I went over to the piano the next time I got down to writing. I had a piano in my house, but I just had always walked by it. And for 5 years, I did not touch that piano. But Irene Kelly and Tony Ramey and I got together to write. And I sit down at the piano, and for some reason, that melody, that I just kind of love that. But that melody popped into my head, and I was like, I wonder how it would sound on piano. And I started playing it. And I'll just show you a little bit of how that sounds on piano. So it's basically the same melody that I played on the guitar a second ago, but I transposed it over to piano. And instantly, we kind of fell into a vocal, what do you do when love comes along? And the funny thing is that once we started doing that on piano, the chorus kind of fell into place. And I had been, playing this for a year and a half and never could hear where I needed to go when it got past the verse. And for some reason, just sitting down at the piano totally changed the vibe of it, and it just kind of gave direction. And this is what I'm talking about. A song needs to speak to you. I wasn't willing to listen that this song needed piano. I did everything. For 5 years, I stayed away from piano. I didn't even want to do it when a publisher asked me. I was like, no, I play guitar. I was in my head trying to control the way my career was going to go for me, instead of listening to what this song needed. Once I did that, it fell into place. So the story today is we're going to learn to listen to the whisper that the song gives us.